You suck at jiu-jitsu. That's right, I said it. Just play that on loop. You suck at jiu-jitsu. Why do you suck at jiu-jitsu? And why did you click on this video? Well, first of all, it's because the title says it. And the second reason is because you have this overall feeling of that you aren't progressing, and if anything, that you're regressing in your jiu-jitsu journey. Well, there's a few reasons why that's happening, and in this video, we're going to break that down. So sit back, relax. If you guys want to do this like podcast style, put it on your car and let's talk about it. So the first thing to think about is, why are you plateauing? Now, if you are in a white to blue belt situation, don't worry, this will soon come to an end. Remember, it's going to come with every belt, but the white to blue belt is going to be the most intense, because from that white to blue belt stent in your journey, there's a lot of knowledge that comes within that time. And mainly it's about yourself and your opponent, in the fact that we are learning how to control our own body, and we are learning how the opposing body is moving. And as you master the art of jiu-jitsu, you now kind of can predict of where that person is going just by feeling their little muscle fibers of how they're going left or right. So that white to blue belt, you're learning so much so quickly. You're in this aggressive spike, right? Or an aggressive curve. And when that curve or that spike hits and plateaus, you might feel like you're regressing, especially when you're going against some other people, within the realm of your skill level, and they might be progressing faster than you. You might find yourself, regressing from them, and that's very demotivating. And again, that's going to happen because everybody's different within their learning curve, but also we can get stuck within our own selves. So again, where we're going to start is the white to blue belt. It's normal because of that reason why I explained. We have an aggressive learning curve and an aggressive spike in learning. And then we kind of plateau because there comes a point where there's only so much knowledge that you can learn in jiu-jitsu, okay? And we'll get to that in a point. But so the first thing that I want to get over here is from the white to blue belt, again, if you hit that plateau, start thinking about how often you're training, okay? How often are you training? Are you training once a week? Are you training twice a week? Are you training 3 times a week? If you're training 1 day a week, I want you to think about this. If you're training 1 day a week, you're not going to retain and you're not going to practice that move or technique often enough to remember. And this was brought up to me in my when I was getting my pilot's license, that if you only do something 1 day a week, it's going to take our body 4 times as longer within that month because because we should be training 3 to 4 times a week. He said, he was saying that for our body to remember what that previous day that we learned was. So if you're going in like on a Wednesday and you come back on a Wednesday, well, I've got to relearn that move and then re-practice that move, right? Instead, if I go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if I learn that move and I can practice that move along with some new moves, I'm kind of just already in the motion and I'm already in my mindset of that move, and it's just always going to be there, and I can practice it more often, right? It's just the amount of how often am I practicing it, because practice makes perfect. Repetition, it's just a cycle. So that's one thing to think about, is how often are you going? Now, a fix to that is the sweet spot is right between 3 days a week. 2 days, totally understandable if that's got to be for a few weeks. 4 days, great. Very hard on the body, but great. Every day, you're going to blast off into a rocket ship. But I think that sweet spot's 3 days a week. That way you've got a day in between for rest. And again, an extra day if you want to go, and a day back if you're feeling too tired or you guys got a bunch of stuff going on. So that's going to be the sweet mark on how often you should go. And, if you've got a little variable in there. Number 2 to think about why your jiu-jitsu sucks is, are you able Now we'll do that number three. We'll three. Maybe you're not going, or maybe you're going too often. Okay. Maybe you're going too often. And you're thinking to yourself, Scott, you can go every day. You just said it yourself. Why, if I go every day, why shouldn't I be learning more? Not necessarily, because this has happened to me before. There was a time where it was like the stock market it was like a bull run, just going. It was my purple belt times, and I was training 2 times a day and then teaching a class. So essentially I was training 3 times per day times 7. What's 3 times 7? 21. So I was training 21 times per week. And when I was training too often, I found that I really didn't have any direction. And that kind of negated the how often am I going. Because if I go too much, am I really putting in the effort? I know it sounds crazy. Am I really putting the effort to rehab my body, soak in the knowledge that I have, and then use it? That's why rest is so important, right? That's why I say the first one is how often are you going enough? And then number 2 is too often, because there is a sweet spot. You don't want to go too much where you're not having a direction, but at the same time, too, you don't want to hurt your body. We need to have rest. And I find out more often than not that if I take a week or 2 off and I get back on the mats, I'm actually better than I was if I was going all the time. It's a very interesting concept to think about. But yeah, how often are you going, and are you going too often? All right, number 3, and I think the most important one, and I hope I don't bosh it. Potpourri. No, we're gonna call it out of the box. Okay, so a big reason why your jiu-jitsu sucks is because you're not thinking outside of the box. When you have a box, let me see if I can insert one here while I talk. Okay. I don't think I can. Can I? Image, table, chart, line. I don't think it has shapes. Okay. When you guys are training out of the box, this is doing something that we're not usually doing on our day-to-day basis. For instance, I'm a butterfly half guard guy, on top and bottom. Okay, that's kind of like my realm. I like that area. Some guys like berimbolo, some guys like lasso guard, some guys like spider guard. But my realm is within that realm. Now, if you stay there, that's all you're going to be within that box. And I highly recommend you guys getting out of that box so your jiu-jitsu doesn't suck. And I remember what I just said before is that there's only so much you can learn in jiu-jitsu, right? There's so many moves, right? There's so many moves to the extent where there could be a million moves. And then we could go micro or macro and say there's only a fine amount of moves. And if you get to that point where there's a finite amount of moves, or there's just a limited amount of moves, you'd be surprised how many there are and how many you can exploit. And so again, if you stay within that box, you're only going to know what that is. But if you can go outside of the box and use those things that's within the box, outside of the box, you'd really be surprised of what you can do. And just to elaborate a little bit, yeah, we have our straight arm bar, okay? But we could turn that into a triangle or an omoplata. That straight arm bar, I could turn in that position, maybe a wrist lock, within that. So I want to explore outside of the box what's in the box, if that makes sense for you guys, right? This is something that you guys can experiment with the new moves, but keep it within the realm that you like. Okay, so if you like bottom, or if you like top, if you like 50-50, if you like north-south, a lot of sexual innuendos there. Please don't make fun of me, but do. Yeah, it's a pretty important thing for you guys to get outside of the realm and expand your comfort zone is pretty much what it is. Get out of your comfort zone so that way you can put yourself into new scenarios, and you can explore new realms in your jiu-jitsu. Number 4, Now, I think this is he's number four. So when you're learning all these new things, we've got to train with, someone. we've got to train with someone, on these, these moves. We got to train on somebody. Pick your partner. Pick your partner is one of the biggest withholding that you can do on your jiu-jitsu game. If you're sitting, this just goes back to, if nothing changes, nothing changes. Okay. How often, too often, out of the box, pick your partner. I hope you guys can see where all this is going. If you're doing the same thing and you're doing the same thing with the same person, nothing's going to change unless you change it. So if you're going to go with your same partner that you usually roll with, you guys have good rapport with each other, either talk about it, what you're going to work on, or pick a new partner. And I have stated this very, very often on this channel, is that, when you pick your partner, pick the right partner. Because I don't want to go with some spazzy, uncontrolled, white belt, blue belt, purple belt, whatever. I want a good partner, a good training partner, because I want to do this for a very long time. So pick the one that not only can work for you, but someone that might be different, might be in the same weight class, might be the same rank, but definitely go off cuff a little bit and explore your partners, because you might learn something from them. And that's another key thing that we can say about pick your partner, is having a community around of asking questions of how are they doing it, what are they doing it, and why are they doing it. And that's going to lead us into number 5 as I hit it again. What is your goal? What's your goal? What do you want to do? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And I know that's a open-ended question, and there really isn't an answer for that, right? I mean, because who do I want to be when I grow up? I still don't know, right? That's one of those questions. But for me, just to give you guys an example, what was my goal? Who did I want to be in jiu-jitsu? I wanted to be incognito. I wanted to be someone that was a threat to some of the highest ranked black belts, because I don't like to compete. I'll compete, but I don't like to compete. I will train with the highest ranked guys out there. I will train with the best of the best. I don't find competition just something that tickles my tongue. I'll do it just to keep it up. But it's the fact that my goal was, I wanted to know every little detail that came to jiu-jitsu, and I wanted to learn it in and out, and I wanted to use it effectively and efficiently in my way and in my game, because I'm not small, I'm not skinny, I'm not big, I'm not fat. I'm just kind of, I'm just a 6 foot, 200-pound dude. 190 to 200-pound dude. Is it pretty bigger on the scale? Sure, right? But in the whole scheme of things, I'm kind of right in the middle, medium large. And that's a lot of scale between the swing, I would say, from a lightweight to a heavyweight. And I wanted to be able to hang with all of them. That was my goal, is to be able to hang with anybody and everybody, any kind of game. If you're a spider guard dude, if you are a berimbolo guy, it doesn't matter. I'll be able to hang with you. And that's what I essentially did. That's what I wanted to. So how did I do that? Well, I went 3 days a week. At some points I went too often, so I brought it down to 3 days a week. I started looking up on YouTube how out of the box. We're just going to go down here as you guys can see. Out of the box. Yeah, I looked on YouTube, talked to other guys, what game was working, found a submission that I liked, saw someone's game, asked them about it, partnered up with the right people, when it came to gyms, just trying to get out of the training 3 hours out of the time instead of 1 hour, training 20 minutes instead of 3 hours, just trying to think of a lot of ways to just train outside of the box. I picked my partners right. I wanted to get, if I wanted to go berimbolo and I wanted to learn more about that, I'd go with those guys. If I wanted to learn more about leg locks, I'd go with the leg lock crew. I would pick the partners who I wanted to be more like, suck the life out of them, and then go and move on, kind of like the Mega Man, theory. And then lastly, the goal, right? Who did I want to be? How did I want to get there? And, how did I want to do that without sucking at jiu-jitsu? Well, if I can kind of stick to that realm right there, not going to suck. And again, this isn't about, you got a world champion and a black belt, and then you got some dude from Bakersfield, California, that's just, some black belt that got it from Joe Schmo. Hopefully he was reparable. But if they're able to roll together, world champion, farmer dude, and they're able to roll together, and we're kind of staying in an even keel, I think we're all on the same page. Just because someone's this hierarchy and someone's this hierarchy doesn't mean that someone's better than someone. They can have all the accolades, someone might not, but as long as they can hang, that's kind of what it rolls down to me. I don't need to put myself on a pedestal. I just have that confidence to know that I am that person on that pedestal. Because I can't put myself there, because I've done the training and I've done the competitions, and I've gone against the best, and I know where I stand. So that being said, you guys, your jiu-jitsu, it probably sucks, but it doesn't mean that it has to forever. So do those things. Try to get yourself out of the box. Figure out your schedule situation. Get your right people around you, and put that goal out there. And then once you achieve it, get on to the next one. Goals can make you happy, but only temporarily. All right, remember that. Goals can only make you happy temporarily. All right. The true happiness is the self-happiness, is the self-love and the self-truth, that you are who you are supposed to be, only if you choose it. All right. Because life is all about choices. I love you guys. Hope you had a great one. Hope this resonated. Let me know what you guys think. And I want to know some tips and tricks that you guys might have that other people could learn from you. All right, guys. See you in the next one. Love you.